But I think what we find, and I think David has touched on this, well, he's clearly touched on this at the end of his presentation there, that what we have here in 41 is a picture of powerlessness. Powerlessness. A very powerful man, yes, but in this instance, powerless. Well, we see the powerlessness across the chapter, don't we? First in the powerlessness of the advisors. These magicians, these clever people, these wise men who are meant to be able to interpret the dream for Pharaoh. And I understand David will tell you more about this perhaps later, but they had a book on dreams. There's still a book out. You can buy it from Amazon. I checked it this morning. There's an ancient copy of the book in the British Museum. I'm sure David has seen it. It's called the Egyptian Book of Dreams. It would have been called something else in its day. But it was like a manual, and I think the Babylonians had the similar sort of thing in the ancient world, whereby you could sort of look up what you've just seen in your weird and wonderful world of dreams, and you could say, well, that could mean this, or it could mean that. They had one of those. But when we look at how they respond to Pharaoh in this chapter, what do they say? They don't have a clue. They don't even have a stab at it. They were flummoxed. It's a great word, isn't it? They were flummoxed. They've got nothing in this chapter, verse 8. No one could interpret them for him. Or verse 24. Pharaoh says, I told this to the magicians, my wise men, but none of them could explain it to me. Their ignorance was laid bare. They had nothing. And then we see the powerlessness of the great Pharaoh himself. The most powerful man in the world at the time. No one could lift hand or foot without his say-so, as it were. That sort of power. But he was powerless, wasn't he? He was powerless in the first place to stop the dreams. Those troubling dreams from God. He had no power over them. And he was powerless, clearly, to interpret the dreams. He had no idea either what was the meaning of these dreams. Not a clue. And especially, we see the powerlessness of Pharaoh, this great Pharaoh, this godlike man, to do anything about what was going to happen, to change or control the future. Certainly, he was going to try to manage the future. And Joseph would do that for him with the wisdom God gave him. But he could not control or change that future. He could not stop the years of abundance or the years of famine. He was in the hands of a greater power now. Here was the most powerful man on earth, quite powerless and clueless.